Arnab Goswami.
Going to the debate in 30 seconds, because even as we speak, and this is the big political story this evening, the Prime Minister is deciding this minute whether or not to sack Dayanidhi Maran. As I started by saying, the question seems to be not of whether or not, but when to sack Dayanidhi Maran. I'd like to reiterate that for 6 weeks, through a series of 9 investigative reports, we laid bare the lies of Mr. Dayanidhi Maran. Will he be stepped down or asked to go? That's the only option left on the News Hour debate tonight. Ravi Shankar Prasad, General Secretary and Chief Spokesperson of the BJP, R. Rangaraj, Senior Journalist, joining us from Chennai, top corporate lawyer Ranjit Kumar and Gopal Jain are joining us from New Delhi, and Mr. Rajagopal is a Senior Journalist, he'll be joining us in 10 minutes. Mr. Prasad, if the Prime Minister asks Mr. Maran to go, does the story end there?
Obviously, it does not, or no. First of all, it is indeed very surprising that the premier investigating agency, the CBI, tells the Supreme Court that there are prima facie overpowering evidence of Mr. Maran almost coercing Aircel to part with its stakes in favor of a foreign investors who surprisingly, after purchasing that company, invests into the family business of Mr. Maran substantially, FDI. And thereafter, Mr. Maran clears all the licenses of this new acquired Aircel company by the foreign investor, which they earlier opposed and not granted. Now, the element of quid pro quo is very complete. And you may recall that 74% FDI was increased when Mr. Maran was the telecom minister. And one of the major investments during his tenure in the FDI sector in telecom was done by Maxis of Malaysia. Aircel company was earlier refused license by him for expansion. And once that FDI takeover is complete of Malaysian company Maxis, Aircel under new avatar becomes the recipient of bountiful of licenses by Mr. Maran only because he had chosen to invest in Sun Direct, the family-owned company of the Maran family. Now, there can be no greater copybook example of this abuse of authority for corrupt practices and purposes than this. But having said that, or no, you raised a very vital question. Would the buck stop with Mr. Maran? Arnab Goswami let the nation know, no. What about the role of Chidambaram, the very eminent finance minister of India? The whole spectrum pricing was to be fixed by proper auction in terms of the objection of his own finance secretary in terms of 2003 cabinet decision. Yet he does not take any action. And surprisingly, in March, April 2008, Raja claims that he has taken the consent of Chidambaram. And yesterday you have seen Mr. Manish Shankar here publicly complaining in the case of Commonwealth that the finance department senior officers has objected to funds being given to Mr. Kalmadi because no certificate of use is being given in violation of financial rules. He too was also overruled. Therefore, Mr. Chidambaram's role equally needs to be investigated. And let the buck should not go only with the allies. The principal players inside the government of the Congress also needs to be investigated.
Well, that is one of the concern areas for the UPA here, though I mean, some people say it's too much of a risk to let Maran continue. The other action is if Maran goes, then there is an impact that goes beyond Maran. Hence, some people say let's hold on to Maran right now. Legally, Ranjit Kumar, this is what Maran said. He said, I own no shares of fiduciary interest in any of these companies. But they are his brother's companies.
Well, I do not know the political overtones of the matter, but what I have understood from the newspapers and what I have understood from what has been stated today by the CBI in the Supreme Court in its status report, I understand that the former promoter of Aircel has made a complaint to the CBI with reference to the manner in which he had to be divested of his shares, and he gave his shares to another person who is a foreigner. Now that matter is being investigated by the CBI, and the CBI says that there are a lot of papers to be examined. After the papers are examined, they will be in a position to say whether the investment made by the foreign company is in the company of the Sun group of companies, whether that is a quid pro quo or not, is for the CBI to examine and tell. But if there is a quid pro quo, and which the CBI will come to a conclusion after seeing all the papers, then obviously it does appear.
No,
that
but the facts on the ground, Mr. Ranjit Kumar. There are facts which are on the ground, Mr. Kumar.
Sorry?
You seem to be indirectly defending. The facts on the ground is this, and this is what Maran said, and I quote him. No telecom company directly or indirectly invested in any of the companies owned by my brother during my tenure as telecom minister. I have with me, sir, the Astro annual report. I have the Astro annual report, which says it agreed to participate in a joint venture with Sun TV.
Saying that no telecom company,
sir,
please understand,
sir,
what you have just now read to me is what no telecom company has any interest in my brother's firms, is what he is saying. So
sir,
if the telecom company doesn't have any nexus with the brother's firm, you are saying that Astro is a company which is a separate company which has invested.
Sir, I have two facts.
So far as Maxis is concerned, it is a separate company.
No, 1 second. Let me complete. Then I'll get the other lawyers in.
Yes.
Astro annual report, which I have with me,
please.
says it agreed to participate in a joint venture with Sun TV in April 2007 when Maran was in fact the telecom minister. He resigned only on 13th May 2007 as per his own press note. Besides which, I also have the Sun TV prospectus with me tonight. A Sun TV prospectus which came out when Maran was the minister says that Sun TV intends to get into the entire business of telecom. So Sun TV had started its whole telecom planning operations when Maran was the minister. You put 2 and 2 together, Mr. Ranjit Kumar. It's a well-planned
I have not
operation.
seen the prospectus as you are reading. But I'll take it that what you are saying is correct.
Yes.
Then if there is some kind of a prospectus which says that I am going to be in telecom,
There is.
and if the brother of the brother was a minister, then that is definitely wrong, and it's not correct for a person that a minister should have recused himself and said that I will not take any decision in the matter because there is some kind of a prospectus which
Yes.
has been issued by the brother's company saying that the brother wants to invest in telecom company.
That's the
He
point.
should not have taken a decision.
I
That
think-
is the propriety.
No, I think that's the
propriety
point.
would be that he should have left it to the group of ministers or the cabinet to take a decision, because he should have said that I am telecom minister, since my brother's company is interested in this,
No, sir, this-
telecom business, therefore I don't want to take a decision.
No, sir, the story
to
doesn't
that
end.
extent, legally and logically, that would be the...
So the story doesn't end there. 3 months after the award of licenses, Maxis announces the joint venture. Then on 19th March 2007, FIPB give the required approvals to get a 20% interest. Nobody red flagged this whole business in the FIPB. It got a series of approvals.
No, but in the FIPB, I'm sure somebody would have raised an objection.
Then the investment would not have happened.
FIPB, somebody could have gone and said, somebody can go to the FIPB and say that this kind of an investment, which is in a backhand method
Sir,
of trying to help some other person, is not correct. That is, it's a hearing which people can attend to. It's not something which is a closed door thing.
Mr. Angaraj came in on Newsar
As far as
sometime
I
back.
understand.
I think Ravi Shankar Prasad would remember. I think Mr. Prasad was there when Mr. Angaraj came the last time. Mr. Angaraj, last time you defended Maran. Now the facts are there, Mr. Angaraj. It's not only Times Now. We have put out 9 reports. The CBI has put out 900 pages. Do you still defend Maran tonight? Or do you think he's been totally exposed?
Mr. Arnab, I think first, I think it would be better for all concerned to get the facts right. I never defended Maran. In fact, 2 weeks back, I can now say quite proudly that I told you so. I said in order to nail Mr. Maran, CBI must question Shiv Shankaran. And you asked me this question, is Shiv Shankaran the last word? And I said he may not be the last word, but if he spills the beans, you could nail Mr. Maran.
Okay.
And to the credit of this channel, and a little bit of credit to me, 4 days later, CBI questioned Shiv Shankaran. And that's how this major story has broken out today, that for the first time you have got somebody as a corroborative witness to testify against Mr. Dayanidhi Maran, and he has given a statement now to the CBI that he was forced to sell, he was coerced into selling Accel to Maxis. And now this is the beginning now of the big movement that has happened now against Mr. Dayanidhi Maran. And I also said the second thing, which I think you will bear me out, is that the previous telecom ministers and previous telecom secretaries should also be questioned right from 1996.
Absolutely.
And strangely enough, 3 days later, the JPC has said that they will question former telecom secretaries. And one former telecom secretary has even now testified. He has said that Mr. Maran, when he was the minister, he squatted on the proposal of Aircel for licenses, which was not granted for more than 2 years. And these things are now coming out. And that point was also raised by me. And to the credit of your channel, these two were the first time where someone has really come out with something concrete, which has resulted in firm action now being taken. And CBI has given its report now to the Supreme Court. And things are now coming out right from the time Shiv Shankaran has given a statement to the CBI.
No, but
I think you owe it to me and certainly to the nation that what I had said very clearly 2 weeks back is now happening one by one, and the story against Mr. Maran is unfolding. And therefore, for you to say that in any manner I defended Mr. Maran, in fact, is quite untrue.
Mr. Rangaraj, I take your interpretation for it. I will not argue with that. Before I go to Ravi Shankar Prasad, go back to Gopal Jain. Mr. Rajagopal is joining us tonight, top political journalist. Mr. Rajagopal, tell me, what is holding back a decision now on Maran? Is it more risky to keep Maran or more risky to remove Maran?
It is to remove Maran. I tell you, Arnab, Maran stands isolated in DMK. There is no one to support him. Even Mr. Karunanidhi washed off his hands. He told newsmen in Chennai last week that it is Maran who has to defend himself. Number two, I congratulate your channel because yesterday you exposed a very major scandal. Number three, today in the core committee, they discussed about the Congress DMK alliance in Tamil Nadu civic elections, which is being ordered by Jayalalitha in the month of October. What is the stand of DMK and Congress? Seeing that with the backdrop of Dayanidhi Maran's possible legal scrutiny, I do foresee that Congress DMK alliance will break thanks to Dayanidhi Maran, thanks to A. Raja, like that. Number third point, in Tamil Nadu, the cinema industry, the media industry, Tamil weeklies, Tamil daily newspapers, they are all distributing sweets today because Dayanidhi Maran has come under legal scrutiny. He was, harassing them through the Sumangali cables, and many of your channels, I tell you on record today, even Times Now was cut by Sumangali cables, but thanks to Dayanidhi Maran's control. Today, everything is liberalized. He has come under legal scrutiny.
Well, I just want to say one thing out here since you mention it. That, we have done this news report without fear or favor. We will not give in to any form of intimidation of any kind or any attempt to intimidate us on the ground. The story is quite clear, and yes, we did expose yesterday the mystery file about the telephone exchange. I want to go back to Ravi Shankar Prasad. Mr. Prasad, at this stage, Gopal, just coming back to you. Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, what Mr. Rajagopal seems to indicate is that Dayanidhi Maran has been politically isolated, and yet he is there in the cabinet. Despite that, he continues to be there in the cabinet. Do you see him going before the reshuffle? What if he doesn't?
Well, I think Mr. Rajagopalan, because of his very extensive understanding of Tamil Nadu politics and the polity per se, would be in a better position to gauge the extent of isolation of Mr. Maran. But that is not important, or no. Mr. Dayanidhi Maran ought to have been sacked the day a complaint was filed by the erstwhile owner of Aircel as to how he was coerced into parting with his equity in that company because of quid pro quo, which I stand by that. Let me recount what you have just very vaguely indicated. The whole of Maran's family control of Sun Group is too well known. Mr. Dayanidhi Maran can never disown that. The whole investment promotion board's clearance of investment by a sister company of Maxis in direct, the Sun Direct, is too well known. FDI norms relaxed when he was a minister is too well known. Everything processed when he was the minister is too well known. And lastly, the most important, the moment change of company to the new investor, there is a bounty of licenses granted to Aircel, detained for 2 years. These chain of events makes the whole cycle of quid pro quo complete. Now, if in spite of that the PM is not taking any action, I can only say the PM is not learning any hard lessons from the mess he has to suffer in La Feria Raja.
No, but
you remember
the equity investment,
of October,
Mr. Prasad, the equity investment in this particular company was cleared by the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. if I'm not mistaken. The
Obviously,
$150 million investment in a
you're
phased
ri-
manner.